This one's just going to be an algorithm booster. I still have a message like every single time, but this time I'm using footage that I already used. This is my an old workout, same workout footage as the last video. But if you want to hear the message, stick around. This is going to be a good one, I think. I just had a really long and good conversation with a friend of mine, and I was telling him about how it feels like, life just happens, but people drift apart. I've actually had lots of friends who, when I was, frequently, around them, seeing them, I just had the thought that that it things wouldn't change, that we would still be tight, we would still be close for as long as time goes, for eternity. And then come to find out, as soon as our environments change, as soon as we all go our different ways, then you stop seeing certain people as often as you'd like. And even if you try and reach out to some people, sometimes they don't get back to you. That's just what life is, unfortunately. But I'm never the kind of person that settles for what life gives me. I try and take as much as I can from what life has to offer. And so I do my best to maintain these connections I've made with people. I try and do my best to reach out and to say hi, to remind people that, someone's thinking of them. I've done that before. It hasn't always worked out. But anyways, I was telling my friend, I'm not going to say his name, but there's this song I've listened to a lot, and this is by Lil Nas X, which is kind of an interesting source of inspiration. But in this song of his album is called Montero, and one of the songs is called Dead Right Now. And it's a song about how basically like everyone in his life, his family and everything, like they all left him. I mean, if you listen to the other songs in the album, you get the story. But basically his family kind of disowned him and left him behind. He lived with his sister, and then his music got discovered and he blew up. And he talked about how now that he's rich and famous, everyone wants to be back in his life. And he's like, you can't, because you're dead right now. Like, you're dead to me. And it made me realize this, because I don't know if anyone knows this, like if you haven't watched videos for a while, but I've talked about this, how my goal in my design is to bring God to the forefront of discussion in everyone's reality. What you perceive as reality, I want people to begin to include God in what they think of as life, at a higher rate. I want more people to think about God and consider Him. And so, what I've done is I've started this YouTube channel. I've posted a lot on Instagram, TikTok, and I've written a lot of things, a lot of ideas and stuff, trying to practice to learn how to articulate myself, because I feel like God was going to give me something of an opportunity, a platform, or some way of getting my word out. In the process of doing this, of trying to do what God wants for me, I've lost friends. Not saying that we wouldn't be friends if we saw each other in public again. I'm just saying, as far as frequent communication, as far as staying connected and knowing what's going on, there's a lot of people that I'm not really close friends with anymore. Like, I still love them and still care for them, but what I can't let happen, let's say I have the success I'm dreaming of. By the way, I haven't talked about this a ton, but in the last few videos I talked about my endeavors trying to learn music. If something happens and I were to blow up, if I were to have major success, and I was able to put the puzzle together that God has given me to assemble, and I was able to make it all work, the one thing I would want to avoid is going the same way that the rest of the world goes. To go into carnal nature, and to squander the opportunity that God would give me. Like, if that were the case to happen, what I would need to do is to remember that even if I make it and I become successful, there's no such thing as an earned success. God is the giver of all success, of all goodness. And so, even though you may have worked hard for something, the fact that you received it was not on the merit of your own work. It was on the merit of God's great grace, and He gave it to you. But your work that you put in was just self-transformative. It didn't actually produce any real results outside of yourself. That's what you have to remember. The good results come from God's blessing. So if that were to happen, hopefully I would keep the mentality of forgiveness, the mindset that everyone changes, everyone goes through a process of change, and that every mistake that's made is only made because of challenging circumstances. And so I would be willing to forgive everyone and anyone who at any point kind of left me behind, or maybe didn't appreciate the relationship that we had at the time we had it. If any one of these people that I previously, associated with, that since hasn't really been too present for, my experiences at this point in life, I'm just going to be understanding of the fact that some like life does happen, and not everyone can be worried about everyone else. And while my only goal at this point in life is to serve God and to serve others, I know not everyone has the same goal, and it's understandable. I can see why. It requires a lot of sacrifice to put yourself in a position where you serve everyone else. And I understand that it's not inherently evil to want to build a life for yourself. So I understand all of that, and I'm willing to forgive everyone that that may have neglected in some small way our relationship that we had. And so if you're listening to this, take the opportunity today, even right now, to reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a while, and just to check in and see how they're doing, to offer some support or to give them a word of encouragement or anything you can give them. And if you do just that one simple thing, you'll become that much more in alignment with God's will. You'll probably feel a little bit of an increase of peace and love in your heart and in your life, and you'll see that blessing. There's just no good reason not to try and to be in positive influence in someone's life. Dang it, I almost made it through the whole video without stuttering. But anyways, hope you guys have a great day. Please don't forget God in everything you do, and stay fresh. I guess, I don't know. Have a good one.